They do want to know the comments from the public and the council. Angie requested a very organized comment period. Citizens were given the chance to stand up and voice their comment/concern. At the end of the comment session, a poll was taken from the citizens present. The poll was who is in favor of the apartments versus opposed. The overall majority of the vote was opposed to the building of the apartments. Angie presented the council with 2 resolutions for them to review. King made a motion to approve the resolution for the Federal Home Loan Bank for $250,000, and Lovelace opposed and Nielsen approved. King made a motion to approve the resolution for the home grant from Indiana Housing and Community Development for $785,000. Lovelace opposed and Nielsen approved. Pat Callahan, a rate consultant, had been hired by the town to evaluate our current water and sewage rates. Pat is here tonight to present his findings. The town hasn't raised the rates since 2007. The town buys its water from the city of Linton. January 1st, 2012, the city of Linton raised our rates 38%, yet we hadn't passed that increase on to our customers. Pat explained how the rate reports are put together. He presented packets to the council. The town has suffered losses over the last several years in the water and sewage. It is suggested in these reports that the water and sewage rates be increased. The council will review the findings presented and will work on composing an ordinance to establish an increase in the rates. Ordinance number 6-2012, an ordinance to implement a nepotism policy, was presented to the council for approval. A motion was made by King to pass the ordinance for the nepotism policy and was seconded by Lovelace, and a vote by Nielsen made it unanimous. Whereas an emergency exists for the immediate taking effect of the ordinance, the same shall be in full force and effect on July 1st, 2012, from and after its passage by the council of the town of Duggar. King made a motion to pay the claims. Lovelace seconded. The claim docket was signed by all board members. King made a motion to adjourn, and Lovelace seconded. Motion was passed, and the meeting was adjourned.
You've heard the reading of the minutes. Do you need a motion to approve, or?
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as read.
I'll second.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
I have a copy. This is something new that I'm going to start doing at the board meetings. This is just adjustments that we have made, and leak adjustments that we've made for the month of June. And we have some for non-sufficient funds in a check, a reconnect fee, a wrong reading, a pool adjustment, and another pool adjustment. And then we have 2 leak adjustments that we made for the month. And I just would like for the town council to sign those, just so you're aware of them.
Yeah, 2 pages, but there's only so many on each page.
And I have an ordinance that I'd like to present tonight.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to be ordinance 7-2012, an ordinance fixing the schedule of monthly water charges to be collected by the town of Duggar municipally state-owned water utility and amending ordinance 4-2005 with tracker ordinance 1-1999. This is an ordinance just for the tracker that we had talked about before. This is not the ordinance to raise the actual rates, which is to come, but that's not what this is. This is just for the tracker, which will help us just in the water department to get back the money that we're losing right now until we can get the rates increased. So actually this will raise everybody's water $1.17 per 1,000 gallons. So that's what this is. And then this will be null and void when we get the rate increase, the ordinance for that. So this should actually show up on people's next billing, which would actually be in, yeah, would it be August the 1st? Yeah, the August the 1st. Yeah. So I'm just going to read it and then we'll go from there. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Town of Duggar, Indiana, the town, now finds that the rates from the City of Linton have been increased and will, by tracking ordinance, increase the rates for the town. Whereas in order to procure the necessary funds to pay all necessary expenses incidents to the operation and maintenance of its waterworks plant, it is necessary for the town to increase the existing rates and charges. Be it ordained by the Board of Trustees to the Town of Duggar, Section 1, there shall be and hereby are established of the use of and the service rendered by the waterworks system of the town, the following rates and charges based upon the amount of water supplied during each billing period. And then it gives the first 3,000 gallons and gives an actual log here, but it actually will be $1.17 per 1,000 gallons, and that's not affecting the sewage, that just affects the water at this time. This ordinance will be in effect upon the passing of the ordinance, which would be the 16th day of July. And I just need
Now, did you state that the storage rates haven't gone up?
Not yet. They
No,
are going up.
They've gone up considerably in the last couple of years around again. I'm paying a lot more in sewer than in the last couple of years than what I was paying in the past.
When we got the new sewer plant, the sewage bills went up at that time, but they've not went up since then. So that's been a couple of years ago, actually, when that was done.
And you're intending on raising them again?
We are raising them again.
And are you collecting from everybody in town that hasn't paid their bills that you've shut off?
Yes.
We're doing real good on it.
Yes, we are.
I can attest to that. They're doing very well, by the way.
We do.
I need a motion on that.
Motion on that, Lane.
You make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass this ordinance.
Ordinance 7-2012. Need a motion?
Second.
I approve it.
Okay.
Good, good. Needs to be done. Necessary evil. One of those things we have to do. Okay. You got another one to read or anything else?
I've got this whenever you want me
You go ahead and take care of it now then. Let's go ahead.
to. Or actually,
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that one right there.
Okay,
This-
this is some not good information that we've got. The town's really not.
It's about the cross that's out here at the park,
Yeah,
okay? There's been a complaint filed, and they sent us a letter on it. We read it and all that, and I told her to make several copies of it, in case anybody else wanted a copy of it, but I told her I'd like to have her read it here, for what it's about, and what they want us to do about it. So,
Hey,
if
well.
you look at the last page on that,
They is Aisha Khan, legal director, Gregory Lipper, Senior Litigation Counsel, and Benjamin Hazelwood, Madison Fellow. These are from the American United for Separation of Church and State.
Do they live around here anywhere?
Nope.
Highly doubtful.
Washington DC, where the letter came from.
Okay, so I'm going to read the letter. This is regarding the Jesus Saves cross on public land. Dear Mr. Nilsson, we have received a complaint that since 2010, the town of Duggar has displayed a large cross bearing the phrase, Jesus Saves, on town land. Although the cross was built by a local church, then Town Council President Bill Prittle acknowledged that the town of Duggar owns the property, and it's just like putting it in your yard. Mark Stockup, Duggar Council raises, Mark Stockup, this is who's writing this, or saying this. Duggar Council raises question over lighting up cross, Greene County Daily World. We also understand that the town plans to install a sign for the town's schools next to the cross, and that the town is considering supplying electricity to both the cross and the sign.
Hold it right there. Before she stops, I went all the way back to where we talked about that. And in my little things here, let me tell you what I said, what we talked about doing about that. I had that wrote down there. Wait a minute, let me find it. I think it was on this first page. Okay. Back then, the power to the sign was paid by the school. Still is, when we get it up. There's a meter out there. So we asked, the question was, if we tied into that sign, would the school and the church split the bill for the sign and for both of them?
For the light.
If we could check on it. We were never intended to pay the bill, ever. Now somehow got in the paper that we were going to supply the power. That's not true at all. Had it right here wrote down when we talked about it. Okay? So, we asked the public service guy, Bob House, to look for underground lights, mounting boxes and those things, and he would check on it, find some used boxes for the church. Okay? And we would need the school and church to agree on paying the power for the cross and the other thing. And there was an option, they may have to install a new meter on the power pole that's out there. Now, that's the way it was brought up and brought here, and somehow it got that we were going to supply the power to these things, which was not true. Now you can continue.
Okay. Because the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibits the government from promoting religion on public land or financing efforts to do the same, we request that the town promptly transfer the cross to a private entity for display on private property and cancel any plans to provide electricity or other financial support to the display or maintenance of the cross. The town's display of the cross violates the Establishment Clause in 3 distinct ways. First, by displaying a cross on public land, the town unlawfully endorses and promotes Christianity. The Latin cross is the unmistakable symbol of Christianity. As a result, the federal courts have repeatedly prohibited the government from displaying a solitary cross on public land. And it gives all these different codes that you can look up these laws and things, but I'm skipping those.
You got some copies you can hand out, just hand out, anybody wants a copy of that, we got, that'll make that 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, got those right here. Okay. To a reasonable observer that the state is endorsing Christianity. Placement of the cross on public land by private parties violated the Establishment Clause because the cross may reasonably be perceived as governmental endorsement of Christianity. Separation of church and state. Again, it gives all these different codes. Placement of a lighted cross atop city. This is just a code. Here, the town's endorsement of Christianity is amplified even further by the placement on the cross in large letters of the phrase, Jesus saves. The town is legally responsible for the display of the cross, even though it appears to have been initially purchased and erected by Faith Community Church. Even when privately built, then Council President Pirtle acknowledged as much in 2010 in response to concerns that the town would be required to display signs put there about same-sex marriage or abortion. I remember that at the meeting, somebody said it. It's not that at all. As I understand it, the town of Duggar owns the property, and it's just like putting it in our yard. In the event of a legal challenge, the courts would agree. Second, the place of the cross next to a sign for a public school would only strengthen the affiliation between the town and Christianity. A viewer would reasonably associate the cross with the sign and assume that the town supports both. The county created a visual link between itself and placed next to the official county signs 2 small evergreens identical to those in the Creech display. The proximity of the sign and cross is especially likely to send a religious message to students because they are impressionable and their attendance is involuntary. Third, even if the cross were moved to private land, the establishment clause would prohibit the town from paying for electricity to keep the cross illuminated. Local governments may not subsidize religious activity or messages with taxpayer money. For instance, and it gives a for instance. The Constitution prohibits the town from providing even modest funding or subsidies, including the provision of electricity to the cross. Drawing on the writings of James Madison, the Supreme Court has refused to allow governments to use any money to promote religion, warning that the same authority which can force a citizen to contribute 3 pence only of his property for the support of one establishment. Thus, any plan by the town to defray all part of the cost of lighting the cross would violate the establishment clause, no matter how much money and no matter where the cross winds up. Please promptly transfer the cross to a private entity for display on private property. Ensure that no government signs are placed adjacent to the cross, and refrain from using any taxpayer dollars to help light or otherwise maintain the cross regardless of its allocation, or regardless of its location. We would appreciate a response to this letter within 30 days. If you have any questions, you may contact Benjamin Hazelwood or hazelwood@au.org. And this is sincerely all those people that I told you about. So,
And what if we don't pay any attention to it?
I don't
They'll
know.
probably go to
We
court.
have a right to freedom.
You'll go to court. You'll definitely go to court. Now,
The way,
hold on a second.
the way it sounds in the law, that I'm not sure we can legally just transfer it to the church. It has, the way it sounds by law, it has to be moved, you know, and.
Well, it doesn't say, I agree what you're saying, but it doesn't say we can't deed the property to them.
Right. You know, you can deed that property to somebody,
Now-
make it a private entity.
Right, now, the only problem I got with that is,
So many feet.
You won't be able to put a school sign there.
well, it's their personal property they can't do anything about that.
No.
But the problem I got is, can we deed something to somebody without putting it up for bid?
Wouldn't be the first.
Can't do it, can we? Now, there's where we run into the problem, deeding it to somebody. We probably have to put it up for bid.
Here to this funeral home.
Now, the alternative is to have them take it down.
Couldn't you, survey that so many feet by so many feet and deed it to someone with a clause that they could not sell it or up or otherwise
Well,
make any
I don't know that we
profit
could
from
do
it.
that without, because it belongs to the town. Before we could give it away, we'd have to sell it. The town owns it.
The thing of it is too, though, and
Might have five people come in and say, "I want it."
Cross being there, but to do that, we're gonna have to have legal,
Council.
counsel.
It's gonna cost us a bunch of
And
money.
that's really expensive for our council.
At
right
$250 an hour, it costs us a lot of money just to do it.
You can write up a deed yourself. I've wrote up several, 2 or 3 deeds.
Well.
and
Well, we thought about that too.
You don't need a lawyer to write
I don't know if
it.
it's worth doing. In the end, we probably fight a battle anyway. You know, so, is anybody here from the church, from that church?
Isn't it this church over here that?
No, no.
Faith Community, it's not on, was it 159?
159?
Oh, down, way down south.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate it, and I hate this, but I'm gonna, the town doesn't have enough money to fight a legal battle over that cross out there. So, my opinion is that we should ask them to remove it.
It'd be mandatory, sounds like.
It's gonna be anyway, we're gonna have a legal challenge on it if we don't. And I think it's terrible, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think it's a shame.
Deed it to them, and the way that's phrased, the school is still not gonna be able to put their sign there because it's still gonna be next to the church, next to
Yeah,
the
then it
cross.
would become a
Yeah.
school issue.
Do that.
Yeah, the school issue, yeah.
My recommendation is that, now, we probably need a motion to do that.
We need to talk to Faith Community first.
Maybe we need to talk, well, I don't know about talking to them about it, we're basically gonna have to tell them to remove it, in my opinion. I mean, and I hate that worse than anything, I think it's dumb. It's just one of those things,
I think there's a lot more important things they shouldn't have
there's,
so stuck in.
there's no option for us, so. If they take a legal challenge, we're gonna hire a lawyer, and we're gonna be sitting in court.
The United States Supreme Court has ruled numerous times
Yeah.
on situations
You're
almost
done.
identical to this, and every time you're going to lose the case.
They're gonna lose the case.
So
We know that,
there's
why
no
waste
sense
the
in
money?
fighting it.
Yeah.
I would think that, yeah, we can have a motion that we ask them to remove it. We need to give them a time limit to get it down. And,
Why don't we wait till they take us to court, or file a court injunction against us and then do it?
well, if they file one against us, then it's probably too late, and I guess,
Yeah, by then, we'll have to have it.
yeah,
We'll have to have it.
yeah.
Otherwise, we don't have to sign those letters.
I think it's a shame that whoever's against it, more than likely, they're sitting in this room right here. And,
My guess is that's true, but I don't know that.
yeah, I don't either. That's,
No, I
I
don't
just
know
said
that,
that's
so.
my guess. But I can't understand.
But somebody
if
took a lot of time
anybody
to do
would want
it.
do that, why they didn't have the guts to sign their name. You know,
Why didn't they do it when they put it up?
Who knows?
Why now?
You know, it could be the case that somebody locally is doing it, but then there are groups that drive around looking for things like this.
Sure.
And my opinion is it's probably like that. You don't think so?
Could be very well somebody that just seen it,
Yeah.
They could have Googled it and saw.
and said, okay,
well, you know, they haven't made this appear.
I'll get to you. What'd you say? Are you done?
No, the one up here, Bell's Water Tower,
Yeah,
they haven't made them take theirs down.
did they?
It's on
Well, that's on their property,
It's on their own property.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I know it is on their property.
Betty, you're back, you have your hand
But
up?
anybody that was wanting this taken down, it's sad.
Get a whole website or wherever we are.
I can't hear you. Hold on, folks. Go ahead and say it again. What you said. I couldn't hear you up here.
She said, why don't we have Faith Community talk to whosoever will,
Yeah.
about moving it over to
And
there.
moving it up there. I'm sure
Well,
that's-
that's up to them where they want to move it. We just have to get it down. To get it so the town ain't liable here for a lawsuit. And then if they want to try to move it there, I don't have an issue with it. It's on their property. But our deal is, we have to have them get it down. Before we are facing a court case, we ain't got money to fight for that.
Was there anything in the letter, I didn't read all of it, is there anything in the letter that states how long we have to?
Well, we gotta give them, all it says, we gotta give them 30 days to reply to this.
Yeah, reply.
Now, you can assume what you want, but
I would say.
We got 30 days to tell them what we plan to do.
I would say 30 days.
That's not 30 days to remove,
No,
it's just a.
it might be 2 months.
Yeah.
We tell them in 2 months we're gonna have it down,
Right.
or whatever, they're gonna have it down,
Right.
or whatever. But at least we have to make a reply what we plan to do. So,
That'll work.
so what do you,
We could make it a little nuts, but we could say, well, we're gonna have it moved 10 years from now.
well, that probably won't settle too well. will it?
Maybe not, but you know, it sounds good in theory.
I don't know who at the church we can contact. Does anybody here know who in the church down there we can contact? I don't know.
Ferris,
Huh?
Ferris,
Sean
Sean Ferris.
Sean,
Sean Ferris lives right by there.
you know him? Oh, why don't you, let me write that down.
Right, Charlie Hayes is the one that comes to the meeting.
Charlie
and
Hayes lives right on Road.
Huh?
Charlie Hayes is the one that comes and
Gary,
asks
he
how to
needs
say
Gary,
that.
he needs to,
Yeah, Gary.
he's a big worker
Gary?
in the church.
Okay,
You know, Gary down there.
yeah. Okay, that's a couple people we can at least talk to about this. And I think Louis Bottom put it up for him, didn't he?
Really, Charlie Hayes.
Louis and Charlie put it up for him. Okay. So we'll need to communicate with them. Now, are we agreed that we need to take it down?
I don't think we have a choice.
Okay, then I think we should have a motion that we should, make a motion that we have them remove the sign from town property.
And then give them so long.
Yeah. And give them a reasonable length of time to get it removed. Which would be what, 60 days? How long? What's a reasonable time? 60 days plenty? I would think so.
Give them 6
They're
months,
gonna
6
come up with the
months.
funds and everything
I'm not
else.
sure you'd have to give them time.
Huh?
I'm not sure you'd have to give them, in
Yeah.
your 30 days
Yeah.
to reply, I'm not sure you'd
Yeah.
have to give them time.
Yeah. Oh.
And then at the end, tell them what they can do with their letter.
I agree, but, you know, we got the darn thing, so we gotta respond to it. I know what I'd like to tell them, but I can't do that.
I'll make a motion that we notify Faith Community about the sign, removing the sign from out of the ball field.
Okay. Third, agreed. Well, we'll notify them.
60 days?
Huh?
60 days?
Ah, man, I'd give them 60 days would be plenty, and that'd satisfy everybody. You know, if we could fudge a few days, so be it. At least we'll have a direct response to them. Okay? I just think that's the thing to do, and it's gonna save us some litigation in the future. I hate that.
Have it after that.
Huh?
I said, but you're not gonna put how many days you're giving the church in that reply, are you?
No.
No. I'll just call them and say we contacted and told them to remove it. It's a phone number.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna write them a letter, I'm just gonna call them. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Tell them we're going to get a reasonable length of time, try to get it out of there.
Right, that's right.
It takes quite a bit to move that. That's a big thing to move, takes little boys.
It may take a lot longer than what you think.
Yeah, it's quite a thing to do. Okay, so we've got through that. We talked about our water rates. Okay. Okay, Fire Chief, where you at?
Back here.
You have something you'd like to bring up here
It's just,
tonight? Talk to us about.
I've got 3 or 4 members that's not making very many runs, and I've got 2 or 3 guys wanting on, and I just wanted to make sure this time when we went through our process and got rid of them the way we have broke down, that we won't have any trouble with the town board putting them back on.
Not from me. You're the fire chief.
Not for me.
You're the one that takes care of that business. Who makes the runs, who don't make the runs. If they don't make the reasonable amount of runs, that's up to you and your committee to tell us which ones that you want to remove and which ones you want to add, and we'll support that.
All right.
My opinion. You say?
I agree.
Do what you need to do. It's that simple. You're the man doing the training and making the runs. I do know that they were on a fire run the other day, and what, just you and David were on the brush fire? 95 degrees, and they're the only 2 that made the run. Hopefully you'll have better participation. So whatever you want to do on that, we support it. No. Do what's necessary, do it by your bylaws, say to do it, and we'll support it, okay? Okay, next thing. Yes?
Stacy, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'll go with the rest of
Stacy
the
here with Floyd Hunter.
Huh?
Stacy
Yes.
here with Floyd Hunter.
Hi. Sorry.
Stand up and give us a report down there of that water
Okay.
thing.
I did submit the CCR to the Sullivan Daily Times.
Okay.
It was published June 29th, and I'm going to be submitting a copy of that publication plus a certification form to IDEM, and that should satisfy the requirement for the review. As far as hiring Republic Services to handle our sludge, I've already taken a sludge sample to analyze, and I have to take that information, put it on an application, and hopefully I'll get that waste stream set up with them this month, and I can bring you a price for how much it's gonna cost per month for the dumpster.
Okay.
And we need a walk-in dumpster. I suppose,
Right,
up there.
yes.
Okay.
That's what I asked you to get.
I would like to thank the town and Gene for replacing our air conditioner in the lab.
Yes.
I was that close to losing an employee. He survived, he's okay.
It was
Okay.
pretty hot that day.
Yes. Also, with the heat, they've been affecting, we've had a lot of ungodly heat, and it's affecting our electrical controls.
Yeah.
We've got the metal panels sitting out there, and it's just baking that electrical controls inside. It's been messing with our RAS pumps. We've had Graves on site a few times last month to help us out with our return pumps on the plant site, because we're not electricians.
No.
Also, for our wastewater plant, we've had no exemptions on a monthly report, so everything's still running smooth. Keep
Okay.
on top of it. We cleaned the UV bulbs, the effluent structure, and as far as the water side goes, your coliforms and your residuals have been just fine. Lonnie and I have been putting our heads together about our water loss.
Right.
That's been affecting our rates. We're trying to figure out what's causing it, what could be going on. And we've got a couple ideas we're going to be checking out. Along those lines, we're talking about flushing lines because we've had some complaints of sediment in the back of toilets and things like that.
Yeah.
And I personally went and checked out a few. We have lots of dead ends in the system with no flush hydrants at the end of it,
Yes.
and that poses a big problem. So with the town's permission, I'd like to find out which ones are the most important lines right now with the complaints and stuff. Find out what size line and what size flush hydrant we need and propose, bring you in a quote next month. Maybe Bonnie and I were talking maybe about replacing one or two a year, or putting in one or two a year,
Yeah.
depending on the cost. And maybe we can start getting our system under control as far as flushing goes.
Yeah. I talked to Lonnie about that when I was down there talking to him. We was talking about that. And right now, we're trying to come up with enough money to buy some.
Yeah.
Don't have any.
I understand.
We don't have the money to buy them right now. But when that comes available, then we're gonna be able to do something. We're aware of the issue now,
Okay.
and we've got to accumulate some funds to buy them.
Okay, well, at least I can do some research
Sure.
to find the cheapest one.
Right. What could help us the most? That would be the best, yeah.
As far as your controls go, is there any way that we could put any kind of air conditioning in that to where, I know down at, I work down at the President, in our radio room, they have it air conditioned, and for that very reason, because there has to be a temperature level on, and I'm sure it's probably the same way with that. Is there any way of putting any kind of a small air conditioning unit in that to where we could maybe control a little bit of
I
that?
can check with police and see. I'm pretty sure the panels that they put out there due to fund restraints, they've been able to do that in those control panels. I have other plants that do have them,
Okay.
so I can check about modifying those cabinets then.
Okay.
I could do that. Anything, any questions for the
That's
sewer
like there's
plant?
over 200 in them panels and burning the wires.
No?
You know, nothing else, if nothing else, you can put are those panels sitting outside, you can put them on,
Yes.
you can put it on, and savings, would help tremendously.
Yeah.
It's true. It's a good idea.
They are outside.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The only one we're having a problem with is our return sludge panel, and that's just sitting right up on a hill out in the open, so.
You could buy aluminum awnings and put over that, put those panels in the shade, so there's nothing that drop that temperature 30 degrees.
Yeah, yeah. Plus it would help with rain too.
Yes.
Gene?
Hey, on them bags out there, how many are you getting per week or every 2 weeks? How many are you unloading out there now?
As far as bags,
Uh-huh.
they've been busting their butts recently. I'd say about, the bagger holds 12, so we're probably putting maybe 24 out a week, probably bagging twice a week.
Well, I talked to the guy out there, I didn't think he's putting that many out. We're starting to put about 12 a week in our dumpsters. We get back to back, ones are 6 or 8 months old, we get rid of them because they don't weigh nothing.
I got you.
We put some in, or we put it 2 weeks now.
Okay.
How many getting out, we catch up, but that way, you know, we can catch up.
Right. And, you know, the longer they sit out, the less they weigh, the less it'll cost to haul them off, so. Anyone else?
Okay. We have a meeting tentatively set up for Pleasantville over the water rate increase.
Right.
Talk about a possible date for that. We can meet with them. What was that,
August.
sometime in, what was that,
August
August?
the 1st at 11:30.
11:30. I think she said it was a Wednesday. You're off on Thursdays, right? Maybe you're off on that.
It varies from, changes every
Yeah,
week. so.
okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to have a meeting with them
And that's gonna be
to
out.
increase their pumping fees. Hopefully we'll have a meeting that goes well with that. We'll just see. So that'll help a little bit. Every little bit's gonna help on this.
Who's gonna have them come to the town hall?
Yes, yes. We'll meet with them there in the town hall.
That must be called a special meeting, right?
We just talked about that today, so just show her there. Got paid. That's fine. Those days she can be there.
Why,
Yes.
did I hear something about the town having a water leak is why the rates is going up so much?
Well, we did hear, now, is Lonnie here? Okay. The guy that did our water rate study told us we have a probably 26% water loss. And that put a big flag up. So we went, I had Lonnie go out and read every meter, every day, reading the meters, the pumpings,
The main meter.
the main meters. And then we'd read the time the pumps were shut down at night when the water tower was filled. Now, if we were losing that kind of water, bleed. The tower's been shut, I've been in this hot weather, the tower's been, the pumps have been shut off 4.5 hours at night. That wouldn't happen. It just would not happen. That pump would be kicking on a lot sooner than that. The water, we would lose probably 10 feet of water in that amount of time out of the water tower. Now, a couple of times, me and Gene looked at the figures. One would show 26, one would show 5% loss, one would show 8% loss, the figures that we were looking at. We went back a couple of years on the water rates and the flow rates, and we're still looking. We're going to make sure that his figures are right as opposed to what we're looking at. Right now, we can't say we're doing that. I can't say it because it's not in the figures we're looking at.
We're gonna have.
He's telling us for every 10 gallons we pump, hey, 2.5 gallons going out in a hole somewhere. We would see that somewhere in this town, unless it's going into the works, old works. We would see a leak somewhere as dry as it is. Something would be real green somewhere.
Could we go through dead meters maybe? Bad meters? Or?
Well, if it did, they'd have to run it in their house.
He said that it's not a meter issue. He said it couldn't be, is what Pat said.
So
we're gonna have Linton, actually, I'm gonna be talking to Linton. Brent Slover just started back to work today at Linton, and I'm gonna be talking to him on Thursday about when the last time that we had our meters calibrated. And check that aspect, but we're checking everything, and Pat's still checking all his figures as well. So
one of the problems we got is Linton reads their meters in the middle of the month to us. We read ours first of the month. We need to somehow get them together, and so it doesn't. The figures don't jive when you try to work it out. But I've been with Lonnie probably 3 times in the last week looking at this, checking his figures on the meters, sitting down and getting what's coming through down there, down at the sewage department, as opposed to what we're pumping, and see how much is actually traveling through, how much we're losing, and they're not being a steady figure. They're jumping all over the place. So we don't know that we have a major leak. We thought ours was a reasonable one in that 6 to 8%, which is normal, and 26% is not normal. But we haven't found it. We have not found it by going out, checking when the tower's shut off, how long it stays off, as opposed to pumping and filling it back up to keep the rate where it belongs. And it's not showing us that.
Yeah, the 26% leakage stay that constant, wouldn't it?
It would just stay, that pump would stay running.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's shutting off for 4.5 hours at night.
It'd stay 26% all the time. It wouldn't
Yeah,
go up and down.
yeah, it's going up and down, so we don't know that that's a fact yet. We're trying to find it. Now, one of the things we talked about, we ain't got the money to do it, is to go in and put shut-off valves, and a bunch of shut-off valves, and shut the water off to a certain percentage of the town, and watch the meter, see if it's running. If it ain't running, that starts good. Open it up and go put another one in up ahead somewhere and shut it off again. And see if it keeps running. And then we'll know it's going into the old works. Time consuming, very expensive to do.
Didn't
Now,
the town used to have shut-offs, where they shut off?
they haven't got enough of them. There's just not enough of them to cover the town. Yeah, there is shut-offs in the town, but there's not enough. Not nearly enough. What's the cost of them? He told me how much those valves were, and it takes about, what, a day and a half to put them in?
Yeah, I think one of them big valves is about $12,000.
They're very expensive.
We were gonna have a rate increase though regardless.
Oh, yes.
Any leaks or anything like that.
I don't-
It's gonna happen
Yeah.
regardless because of Linton raising our rates.
Yeah.
So this is kind of,
Yeah, but they raised our rate 3%, we're raising,
No, they raised it 30.
30%.
30.
I didn't what she said in the last meeting.
No, yeah, it was 30% rate increase.
38%.
Well, that's what
38.
you told us, she was raising ours,
Oh, ours?
Yeah.
38.
Well, regardless, like I said, when he was here for this last, when Pat was here at the last meeting, all of the things that he said, actually, I mean, they were right. It wasn't until he left to go finish up the final calculations that he realized that, hey, we might be losing this water somewhere. So actually, all those things that he told us in the meeting, those were all still correct. But this, what he's discovered now,
He believes we have one.
He
We're looking
believes-
for it.
You know, it's just kind of hard for me to understand how the water department could go broke when we furnish Pleasantville's water, and I understand from them, they got like $400,000 in their fund. I mean, something
can't answer
something
that.
ain't no
I
God.
don't know what they have in their fund.
Well, I just what I
Yeah.
was told.
Actually, there, we just pump the water to them, they buy their water from Linton, they just.
We get a pumping fee.
Pumping fee is what we get.
83
They have
cents
a
per
lot of
8,000
money
gallons
from the
right
mine.
now.
What,
money from the mine.
and I don't know if you caught it, but what the deal is, Linton raised their water rates 30% in January, okay? Prior to that, for the last 2 or 3 or 4 years or whatever, we should have been raising it 3% a year and we didn't. So now that's the 30% plus those years that it was not raised. That takes you to that 38 or whatever it's supposed to be, to get us even. That's not making any money, that's getting us even. His recommendation, that 38 something, was the minimum. Now, that's not what it should be, I'm telling you. We gotta go buy these valves and stuff. That money ain't included in what we just are talking about here. I'm telling you, that's the state of it. If you think the minimum raise is gonna put a bunch of money in that thing, I got news for you. It's not
Well, I'm
going to.
thinking the money went somewhere. Right?
Well, I didn't spend it. We ain't spent a dime.
Well, I'm not gonna pay for it, because I've already,
I
this
know.
month, my bill was $115 freaking dollars.
Ooh.
And it runs 40-some a month. I have not watered anything, I don't have a leaky faucet, I do not have a running stool. There's 2 people that live there.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Did
how
you-
much my water bill was.
Did you go and call them and ask them about it, and have Lonnie and them guys come out and look?
There is it. What good does it do? Because every time I go up there, it's like, well, if you go up there, it's like, well, do you have a running stool or do you have a leaky faucet? I don't have a pool. I don't have nothing. $115.
They need to say something to the office.
Because, and I've got my bills here, for every month. I've got every pay stub, and they all run about the same and the same amount of water being used. I mean, it runs really close, except for this month. And it says I used, let's see, which one was it? It says I used 6,860,000 gallons.
How many?
860,000.
6860.
6,800 or 6,000 some odd gallons?
That's a lot.
So the first thing that I would say is if you came to the office, we would tell you to check those things because that's what you need to do. You need to.
But then I already know that I
But
don't.
you still
But
need
then
to
when
go
you
to the
tell us that,
office.
Then nothing else gets
So
done.
that we can, you still need to go to the office
guess
so
there's
that
no
we can
arguing.
send somebody
There's just no
out.
arguing.
I'm
not arguing.
I went to the office.
Yeah,
And I was told, check your stool,
that's the first thing you should check.
check your faucets.
And I got
Yeah.
2 of them.
Check your,
Either one of
see
them.
Yeah.
if you've got any leaks. I checked everything in our trailer. We checked our water meter, it was not running. And our water bill has went up for the last three months at least, way up. And there's 2 people living in that trailer. I have cut way down on my laundry, and boy, I'm gonna give this town a fooling, because I'm gonna start cutting way down on my baths, and then I'm gonna run to the town with the car windows down.
Well, I'll tell you what,
I
kinda
wash
happened. Everybody
dishes
just moved out of
maybe
there.
once a week, and my water bill still goes up. And no, I don't have any cake coloring line in my
I'm not,
stove.
I can't answer why your water bill's going up,
Well,
because I'm not going there checking your water.
Are the meters getting checked every month, or is there an estimate, or they get
No,
checked
there's
every
no-
other
there's
month?
checks
or-
every month.
They're read every month.
I
I
see
went to
Connie
Murder's
down the
myself and
street.
checked hers for
I
12
did.
minutes. Hers never moved the bus. I went check Murder's the other day, I went down and checked her for 12 minutes. Hers didn't move none.
You checked your meter and it wasn't moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mentioned this at the last meeting, and I spoke to the Ellis Water guy here several years ago about some tubes and that kind of thing. And he volunteered and told me, even though this person told you that it can't be the meters, you know, the old saying is never say never. He told me that the Ellis Water Company, was actually losing water and losing revenue because the meters wasn't calibrated, they weren't reading it correctly. Now, I think it would be wise for you to give him, I think it would be wise to call anybody that's had this problem. In
Well,
fact,
I
I'd give
understand
him a
that. The
call.
meter's supposed to be-
I'd give him a call. I think they're supposed to be replaced every 10 years. I don't know what.
Every 10 years?
I just know
Okay,
what he.
let's do the math here.
Well, I don't know, but I just know what
Okay,
he told me.
I understand what you're saying is true. They are supposed to be replaced about every 10 meters, all of them. Okay, well, let's do the math. How many water do we have? 680 or 800?
You got
800.
1,000 of them.
There's 800 and some, isn't there? 860 some
856.
meters to read. 800, I ain't got a calculator. How much are the meters? Gene, how much are them ones we put in? Was it $25? Or 50?
They're way up.
They're about $50
Yeah,
now?
they're more than that, they're about 140.
How, 150? Do the math.
$128,400.
I'm not telling you to replace, I'm just telling you might check with this person to see.
Yeah.
And not replace them all at once.
No, he didn't replace them all at once, he did it over a period of time.
I understand that. I don't know how many they replaced in the last 10 years. Have no clue. But we understand the urgency to do that. The problem is, we don't have any money right now. We want to do it. I want them to do it. I want to plan on changing 50 a year, whatever it takes, 50 a year.
So you don't think this percentage of loss is from the meters though?
I don't think so. It's too much.
What are we gonna do to check into the percentage of loss other than that, if we're not gonna look into the meters?
I didn't say we weren't gonna look into the meters. I said that.
Sure, I'm just saying, what else do we have to look at?
How do you lose
Might be
water
losing it. I mean, what
with a
do we
water
do?
meter?
The water meter itself can be found, the seals.
That's true. And read a false reading.
Yes.
Usually it goes towards the customer, it slows down, the water still goes through it. It doesn't speed up. Is that correct?
It can speed up.
It
They'll
can,
run back,
yes.
I can tell you that right now, they will run back.
Yes, I have heard that. What do you want us to do, folks? You want to take out $100,000 loan to change all your water meters?
We don't want to take
No,
out
I'm just
any.
asking to check with other people, that's all.
What do you want us to do with it?
Okay, here's like, for instance, here's the difference. And it comes to the,
You know,
this is unreal. Okay, this month it says I used 6,860. Last month, 2,860. Now, how could that be?
well, I can't answer that.
No, but
I can't answer that.
we still have to pay the water bill.
But if you don't come to the office so they can come, I mean, Gene, has anybody?
You said he checked it, and it wouldn't, no.
No, that was mine. But I mean, you may have a leak. I mean.
But I'm not, and my water bill's still
I
going
don't know
up.
about yours, I'm talking about, I don't know about yours, Myrna. But I'm saying, why complain if you haven't even had it checked?
But if there was a leak, just like Dwight said, would there not be water?
Not necessarily. We're talking about a main. If there's a main, yeah, there's gonna be water. I can't help you if you don't come to the office.
There's no photograph.
There's just no.
All I can tell you is, we'll do our best with what we have. That's all I can do. Okay? Until the funds come available, we'll just do the best we can do. And I don't know what else to say. I don't know who else can fix it, any other than we can go out, have them stand there and look, shut everything off in your house, stand there and look at the meter, see if it's moving. Then have you turn on a faucet, run 5 gallons in a bucket, and see if it moves 5 gallons.
I'm afraid to.
Well, then we'll know. If it's reading too much, it'll read 10, then we'll know you got a bad meter. Okay? If you've got that problem, we can do that. Not that hard to do. I'll send them up there. But you gotta let us know it. One of the problems you're getting into, folks, is that these meters are read 2 months after they read the water bill. They're 2 months.
Yeah, so now you know why I'm freaking out, because if the rate goes up, and I got that freaking high
Your water
bill
bill's
now.
not read right after they read it and put in. It's 2 months later. And we need to, we're talking about trying to correct that, but we didn't cause it, but it's that's the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a bill, it's 2 months late from when they read it. You could have a leak for 2 months before you know it. Now, the only way to correct that we can do it, is to say, okay, this month, we're gonna read these bills for 6 weeks and give you a bill for 6 weeks. And the next month, do the same thing. And we can bring you up to 1 month. But your water bills are gonna jump a bunch for 2 months to get us to do that. And that's, I'm thinking about it, but that's the only way we can do it. I mean, I don't know how else you can do it. We didn't set it up this way, and I don't know how it got this way.
Well, you could ease it off a little bit of 5 weeks at a time.
Well, that takes us 4 months then, instead of 2. You know, that's something we need to consider. We haven't done it yet, but we're talking about it. Try to get it to within 1 month instead of 2 months. So we're working on it.
In other words,
It's something we need to look at. So we'll do the best we can on it. We're trying to come up with some sort of plan on that. Okay. I don't have anything. Does anybody else have anything to bring up tonight? Bring it up. Stand up there, lady, and tell us what you got.
Well, I really wanted Mark Stallcup to be here because it was in the Linton paper. The last month at the meeting or after the meeting that Carolyn and Michelle said that I hadn't paid the water bill for half a year, which is a lie. I have the pencil checks right here in my hand that the water bills have been paid. I paid over $6,000 this year for water. So I don't know what they were talking about, but I wanted Mark Stallcup to put a retraction in the paper, and for Carolyn and Michelle to understand that when I send in $1,000 check, that is for that month. You know, another $1,000 check, that is for them, that's for the bill. Okay, well, why did you tell him
Right
that?
there is black and white on her desk up here, it's black and white where it shows on the one bill.
You
There is
said-
not a payment from October of 2011 until 2012, and she's got it in black and white right here. to show you.
October and November
Yes.
would be one thing. You told him this year I hadn't paid half
No,
a year.
no.
Well, that's what it says in the paper.
Well,
From May,
you got
from
it wrong.
January and May is what it says.
You got it wrong.
No, that's what the paper says, and that's what I want changed. You said from January to May that I had not, I've got the paper in my hand,
Well, that's what
Carol.
the
You
paper
want
said.
the
You
paper
Right
right here?
here in black and white.
That's what the paper said. Right there's the bill.
That's what I'm saying. I want the paper corrected.
So you want it to be corrected to say that you didn't pay the bill from October to,
Let's see, from October
I didn't.
11 to. Which month in 2000? Okay, October the 17th of 2011, you had a zero balance. Okay, you got
So
a
November
300.
and December, I didn't pay anything.
Okay, December came, you didn't pay, you got a late fee. December, let's see.
January.
December, you didn't pay nothing.
That's what you just said, December.
Well, November, December. It's right here, if anyone wants to look at it, it's right here.
Now I've got right here in the paper what you guys said to him.
I didn't talk to him first
No.
of all. I didn't talk to Mark
No.
Stallcup at all the last meeting.
Boy, he told me he was coming right back in here to talk to both of you.
Well, I
And the
wish
paper
you
says,
would, but let's get it straight for the paper. So what you didn't pay was November and December.
that's not a half a year.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
That's a privacy issue.
January.
November, December, January.
Yeah, that's what I tried to say too.
No, here's 5 months. Here, this is 5 months. I'm sorry, I had the
It
wrong
was
one.
5 months, not
5
half
months
a year.
before you made the payment.
No, it wasn't.
No, right here it says. Anyone want to look at it? October the 17th, you had a zero balance. November, you owed $350. Then there was a late fee, took it to $374.41. December, went up to $801.11. Late fee, $832.66. January, took it to $1333.29.
What did I pay in January?
Nothing's been paid at this one.
I paid
You might have paid it on this one,
$1,116.
but you didn't pay it on this one.
I got it right here, the check's in my hand.
You have 2 separate water bills up there.
That's exactly right. And this is what I paid on it.
Well,
Do you have the
been
check
one
right here?
check,
Because I
you know.
would like to see the check. I mean, if we're gonna get technical, I mean, let's see it.
Well, I'm not gonna bring it, Michelle, if I don't have it, honey. And now,
So,
can you
so
read it,
what
or I need to read
no,
it?
this is good, this is good. But what you're trying to say is that it was just, it wasn't 6
It
months.
wasn't half a year.
It was 5
It was
months.
2 months. It was November and December.
Well,
Anyway,
serious for her.
Yeah, it was like a black eye to this,
Yeah.
no, it's like a black eye to this apartment thing, just because you guys don't want the apartment.
you have to pay the water bill. If you don't pay your electric bill, you get your stuff shut off.
No, isn't that too bad?
well, yeah, so you don't pay it.
Listen, you're the one that's supposed to be in charge of this.
I am.
Let's put that in the newspaper. This is too bad.
Read it.
You didn't
Read
pay
it.
it. I don't care what it says. I didn't talk to the newspaper.
Well, that's what he said, you
This
both
one
said
here was 800 and something behind, but this one here got.
I want the paper changed.
You have to pay your bill or it gets shut off. But in the town of Dover, for you, it didn't.
This
And
It
that
does in lots of places, Michelle, and you know as well as I do. Do you shut off water for old people and handicapped people?
Yes.
And handicapped people? Right.
yes, we do.
But I paid $1,000 a month and you said I didn't pay anything.
Well, you know what? You need to pay the bill. And
I do pay the bill every month. You go back.
I have gone back. Why would I have to send
You're not fair
stuff?
enough to go back.
You know what? Why would we have to call your employer about your bill? Your employer said shut them off.
No,
Don't
he
treat it
didn't.
any different.
No, he didn't. I
story about that. Yeah. The employer apparently called and she told me that, and I told him not to turn it on. I'm gonna
The
tell you what.
employer didn't call her, she
I
called
don't,
him.
all I know is what I told, now, what I told him was this, that's an apartment. 10 people in this group, or 10 over in here, 20 people. 2 meters, that's all that's there. Now, half of them paid a water bill. We have no idea who paid the others, who didn't. Oh, they know who paid, we don't. I am not shutting the meter off to people who paid their water bill. Now, if you want to spend the money and go up there and put a meter on every apartment and run the damn water lines, then I'll shut them off one at a time. Not until. Now, no more bitching. I'm not going to do it. If they paid a bill, I am not turning that water off to that apartment complex. If one person in there paid, because I don't know who it is. That's the way it's going to be. Anybody else wants to do any different?
You know what?
Buy them a meter.
Seriously,
Now let's
we're
run
going
it.
to get technical about Dwight.
And that's what we
Seriously.
have to do.
It's really not. By law,
No.
if she
I
doesn't
understand
pay
what
the
they
bill,
say.
but you know what? It's not going to be your decision. It's a law.
I understand that, but I ain't doing it. Doesn't
You
take
know
me-
what? You don't necessarily have a choice.
Doesn't take me.
And you know what? Let me ask you this. Did she not promise us $50, what was it, $50 for
I
good
did.
faith? You were supposed to bring that the next day, and you didn't. If it was good faith, you would have paid it, and you did not pay it for several days. Good faith, it was the next day. Good faith was the next day, and it wasn't
Well, let's talk
there.
about good faith.
Why do you have to talk to me about good
You're supposed
faith?
to work 3 hours a week to begin.
No, I'm not. I am supposed to work 1 hour a month. 1 hour a month.
That's
No.
all you work, is 1 hour a
Well,
month.
you know why?
Everybody knows
I
that.
don't answer to you.
That's right. You'd be out of here. And I don't answer to you either.
And your water for your people will get shut off when it's not
Well,
paid.
you won't do it, honey, because you don't know how to.
I'm not supposed to know how to. I'm the clerk treasurer.
$60,000 to train you.
Hey guys, let's move on to some other business.
Do we have any other business?
This isn't
$60,000
accomplishing anything, guys. Let's move on to some other business, please.
Hey, this gentleman here's got some business. He's not into it tonight.
Bob does. Bob, tell him.
Hey, guys, come on, let's move on to some other business.
I wasn't even gonna come tonight, I guess I missed all the good stuff. I just went down to the cemetery, I go down there several times a week, my daughter's dad's down there, and I have family members down there. And in the back where my grandfather's buried, for one, there are literally, I got out and stood, weeds up to my knees around graves. But for two, someone, I don't know if it's the guys who are mowing or someone else, has ran over a bunch of flowers. And there's an area bigger than this room that goes clear across the road, around all kinds of graves where there are hundreds of flowers shredded and trash. It looks horrible out there. So I just thought I'd let somebody know. It's just disrespectful. It needs picked up. I mean, I picked up when there was around my grandma's grave. I wasn't gonna leave them laying, but somebody needs to pick them up. It's just horrible. And I just wanted to draw that to your attention so that somebody could tell me.
I was told about it. Yeah. I'm aware of it.
Do we have any other business?
Not that I know of.
Guys, I do have one proposal.
Sure.
A couple proposals tonight. Something I've been debating for, a month or so now. You know, our salaries is about, and most everyone knows, is about $650 a month.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm gonna make a proposal, guys, that we knock off about $400 off our salaries to help this town out. Go from 400 to Look, I feel like I don't do $650 worth of work in this town. And
I think
from-
Mike
from-
and
for-
McNeil do.
For me to sit back
Getting
and
into
take,
that. Nobody follows me around all day, no, we're not following David around all day or any of
You know, I can't talk about how,
I agree with you, it's too high. But I don't think you can legally make a motion to do that until the budget or until the election's over. I think that has
Can't
to
you
be done.
volunteer part of your pay, donate it back to the general fund?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see a problem with that.
They put some of his back, Michelle?
Can I ask how the town, why is the town broke? When the.
Too much insurance and that's.
Is Thomas still here?
Yeah.
Thomas, when you was on the board, was you ever told that there wasn't enough money to pay the bills? No. Did you always have enough money to pay the bills?
Barely. We started out this